Hi, I'm Emin Çelik, and this is the project presentation for EE574. So my project topic is GRAPPA MRI sequence, which stands for Generalized Auto-Calibrating Partially Parallel Acquisition. So it is a multi-coil parallel imaging technique, just like SENSE or ASSET. So since it's a parallel imaging technique, the primary advantage is that it has reduced scan time. So we can acquire images much faster compared to regular MRI sequences such as gradient echo or spin echo sequences. And the idea is that we sample only a limited number of K-space lines. So that is the reason why it's faster, so you don't have to sample the whole space, you only sample a limited number of K-space lines. And obviously this does not come without a trade-off, so the trade-off is aliasing. Because we are not sampling the whole frequency domain, we end up with aliased images. So let's compare GRAPPA and SENSE. Those are two of the most commonly used parallel imaging techniques. So the image quality for both are comparable. So essentially it depends on which manufacturer your MRI machine comes from. So that's the main deal basically between the two. So there is no real advantage between using GRAPPA or SENSE. So essentially the idea is that aliasing distorts the images, and obviously these aliasing effects need to be corrected. And there are two alternatives. One is to correct before final reconstruction, and this is what GRAPPA does. And the other alternative is that we can correct after final reconstruction and then combine the images, which is what SENSE does. So here's an image that shows how aliasing works in parallel imaging. So as we can see on the left image, we have badly aliased unfolded images. We see two images coming from two different coils. So obviously in practice there are usually more than two coils, but that's not the point. So the question is, how do we get from this aliased image all the way to the fully reconstructed alias-free image we see on the right here? So this is the main question that needs to be answered for parallel imaging MRI techniques. So the measure that they use for parallel imaging techniques for how fast you want to go is called acceleration factor. So here we see three images. On the left we have R equals 2, in the middle we have R equals 3, and on the right we have R equals 4. So R is acceleration factor. So essentially the left one is slower, the right one is the fastest. And no surprise here, we have a much noisier image on the right side because we have acquired the image quicker, and this means that we sampled less number of K-space lines, which in turn led to a noisier image. Okay, so here we see how do we do the reconstruction. How do we go from the aliased images coming from the coils and fully reconstruct the image and combine the images coming from coils? That's the main problem for GRAPPA. So this is the main idea. We first sample the central K-space lines fully, so this is very critical. So by central I mean low frequency content of images, and this is because brains or any other body parts usually smooth, and this means that the most significant content of the image is stored in the low frequency part of the K-space. So it is important that we fully sample this part, and as we go away from the center, we sample less and less number of lines. And once we do that, we calculate weighting factors for each coil based on these samplings of central K-space lines, and after that we estimate the missing K-space lines. So this is the important step for GRAPPA. In SENSE, we don't do that. In the SENSE MRI sequence, the reconstruction is done after Fourier transformation. Basically, this means the reconstruction is not done in the Fourier domain or in the frequency domain. So in GRAPPA, this is the main thing. It's done before Fourier transforming the images, and obviously to be able to do that, we need to estimate the missing lines, and that way we can construct an alias-free image for every single coil. And once we do that, we have alias-free images for every single coil, and we can combine these corrected images coming from different coils and ultimately reconstruct the final alias-free image, hopefully without any noise. And this is it. Thanks for listening.